Welcome to QuickBites, public speaking tips and techniques you can digest in 5 minutes or less. Here's your host, Peter George.
A bird sitting in a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch, but in her wings. It never occurs to her to wonder, what if? Because she instinctively understands that if the branch does break, she can always safely fly away. Yet as people who speak in public, we often swamp ourselves with what ifs. What if I forget what I'm going to say? What if they don't pay attention to me? What if they don't like me? What if they see my knees shaking? What if they hear my voice cracking? You really don't need to put yourself through this. Just like the bird landing on a branch, you can have complete faith in yourself and your presentation. How? By sufficiently rehearsing. I know, I talk about rehearsing all the time, but rehearsing is key to both being calm and presenting well. But knowing that you should rehearse and knowing how to rehearse are two different things. So to help with that, here's my process. After I create my presentation, I edit it, but this editing process isn't to search for grammatical errors. It's really to determine whether or not I've included the points I want to, if my points and presentation as a whole are clear and concise, if my supporting evidence, such as stories and statistics, actually support those points. Once I'm satisfied, I sit at my desk and read it out loud, listening for the parts that sound written as opposed to spoken. Like most of us, I speak much more casually than I write, and since this is to be spoken, my draft needs to be written that way. When things are all set, I read it out loud again, this time recording it. Now I can play it back, asking myself the same questions I had before. I'm also listening to hear if it sounds like me. You know, that authenticity thing. I listen for words and phrases that might be difficult for me to pronounce. Having grown up with speech impediments, this is important for my self-confidence. I listen to hear if I'm engaging listeners throughout the presentation. After making any necessary edits, it's time to step it up a bit. It's time to begin to practice portions of my presentation. At this point, I'm not interested in presenting the entire presentation, just portions, so I get familiar with each segment. I'm also not trying to present it verbatim. I just want to get the feel for each particular point. During this time, I prop up my phone and record on video. Then I play it back 3 times, each in a different way. First is audio only. This way I can listen to the content as well as for fillers and voice variety, including pitch, rate, tone, and volume. I take notes while listening. Second, I watch it with the sound off. How do I look? Do I look at ease and confident? Am I pacing? What's my body language saying? Again, I take notes. Third, I review the audio and video together. Once again, taking notes. Once each segment is as I want it, it's time to bring it all together. I include any slides and/or props. If I'm going to be holding a microphone, I hold a microphone or substitute. If I'm going to be moving on stage or in the room, I'm sure to move while rehearsing. And I do all of this at the volume I'll be speaking at during my presentation. And in the clothes I'll be wearing that day. All while recording each rehearsal. Does all of this take a great deal of time? Definitely. Is it worth it? Only if you want to have as much trust in yourself when public speaking as the bird does when landing on a branch.
Thank you for devouring another episode of QuickBites. Tune in Monday when you'll hear another episode of Public Speaking with Peter George, and again Thursday for your next episode of QuickBites. Until then, remember, when it comes to speaking in public, you've got this.